My name is Jay Carpenter. I'm founder of Desert Blockchain and Desert Blockchain Camps here in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is our monthly session, which we have generally on the fourth Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Arizona time. And we talk about various topics. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a form of decentralization, which is the domain name system, and a possible alternative approach to the domain name system. But we also have Saturday sessions on the second Saturday of the month here at our Desert Blockchain Camp, which you see an image of behind me, and that starts at 11 a.m. at 27th Avenue in Georgia. And you can follow us on Meetup for detailed information on that. And that goes from 11 till about 2 p.m. on the second Saturday of the month. We have pizza. We talk about various DWeb, Web3, decentralization projects, and so forth. So we are community funded via Patreon, where you can sign up to become a Desert Blockchain citizen for $10 per month. So check the notes below in the video where you can do that. We appreciate your participation in that regard. And basically, we are more in the realm of applications versus the financial side of cryptocurrencies and that sort of thing. So tonight, we're going to be talking about is DNS backward? And I have a presentation for that. So let me cue that up and get it full screen for you. But this is certainly one of the most successful and arguably decentralized constructs that we rely upon is the domain name system. And it's become basically our nervous system, our societal, political, arguably economic nervous system, and it's done remarkably incredible things for human beings. But maybe there's a way to actually approach it where it could be improved. So let's take a look at that and start the presentation. So, is DNS backward? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what DNS is. And from this image, you can see that we've got an example of, google.com, which is the human-friendly side of the domain name system. And that is mapped to this, what's called the Internet Protocol address. You see in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, which is 216.239.34.10, and that is machine friendly, but not so human friendly. So could this be improved upon? That's the question. And I assert that indeed, and this is where the session recording is going to go in the presentation. It's kind of a placeholder, but we'll talk a little bit about what is DNS and is it backward and why, and we'll go over some examples. We'll talk a little bit about what is possible, or at least what's possible in my view, and then briefly touch upon some next steps. And, basically, this is some thoughts in preparation for this presentation, and I already talked about this, but the domain name system is one of the most successful decentralized constructs in human history. Could it be better? I think it might. There's an approach that might be superior to the way it's structured now. And what if the human-friendly part of DNS was reversed from the machine-friendly part of DNS, which we just looked at on the introductory slide? And we'll go over a kind of a rough overview example talk about the benefits, how might this happen, and maybe next steps. And that will be what we'll cover tonight. And I'm sure we'll be having more sessions on this topic. This is sort of the introductory session, and just to get folks thinking about how this might work. So if you're not familiar with the domain name system, here is the Wikipedia page, and it can get rather complicated rather quickly, but and it's not reflected on this particular portion of Wikipedia page, but just in the next section, if you scroll down, which I'm not going to do at this point, but it would say that many consider the domain name system to be sort of like the phone book for the internet. And I think that's a very appropriate description for it. But it's a way for us to have human-friendly names that are easy for us to remember for the most part, that are mapped to machine-friendly addresses, like I showed you with the I think it was 216, and I won't go through the rest of it because I can't remember it. Already I've forgotten it. And that goes to show how unhuman-friendly it is for the machine-friendly part of this construct. So this is the fellow that invented the domain name system. His name is Paul Makapetris, and he also invented email, and enormous contributions to all of us. But this is a little video, and if you go about 4 minutes and 10 seconds in, he talks about how when he was inventing the domain name system, it was kind of put together in order to get something that worked, and it did, and it works very, very well today. But there wasn't a lot of thought put into security, and there wasn't a lot of, I would say, research that was done. It was put together, it worked, and it just caught fire from there and has been expanding enormously ever since. But the point of this video, this little video section, is that he talks about how they were being rather pragmatic in creating the domain name system. They wanted something that worked, and there wasn't a lot of thought, I don't think, in terms of what else could be added, what are the repercussions, what are the alternatives, and so forth. So let's take a look at some alternatives, perhaps. So this is the way it's structured currently. Currently, you have a human-friendly address like google.com, which all of us pretty much can remember, and probably most of us use on a daily basis. But that translates into a machine-friendly address that the machine network can understand, which is the 216.239.34.10. So this is a bridging. The domain name system is a bridging of human-friendly with machine-friendly, and this is a really, really important service and construct, because it makes this network, the internet, usable to us humans that associate with words, whereby the machines need basically numeric constructs in which to operate. So the way it is structured is the domain name system has human-friendly fixed, or basically unique addresses like google.com, and then the machine-friendly part is sort of subservient. So in other words, the google.com could be mapped to any one of the internet protocol addresses that are similar to, the 216 number, and on, and even to the newer versions, which is called the Internet Protocol version 6, which is even longer and even more complicated than this address that you see that starts with 216, which was the old style Internet Protocol version 4. So that's the way it's set now. So, but the point of this slide is that the human-friendly part is sort of the primary part, and the machine-friendly part is sort of subservient. What if, and what does that lead to? Well, it leads to these considerations. It leads to arbitrary binding of human-friendly to machine-friendly identifiers, which introduces variations. There's an arbitrary length of both the human-friendly and the machine-friendly identifiers, which also adds to variations. And there are human-friendly identifiers that can deceive users with slight variations, like Google versus Google with substituting a Q for the second G, which looks, if you're in a rush or whatever, looks like it's what you want, but could lead you to a location that leads to some consequences that are not desirable for you and might be actually harmful to you in terms of loss of money, loss of your passwords, etc. So these variations introduce vulnerable identifiers and security faults, and variations also introduce complicated identifiers. And if you do a Google search actually for why do software developers not like the domain name system, you'll come up with some interesting articles on the struggles that software developers have and some of the misprovisioning that happens on a daily basis, where software developers will get in, try to modify the domain name system, and basically take out websites, email services, etc., because they are not well versed on the domain name system, and can easily cause very serious outages and disruptions. So what if this architecture were flipped around such that the machine-friendly was fixed, so the numeric was fixed, and the human-friendly was subservient? So what that would lead to, in my view, the advantages to reversing DNS, and basically the title is DNS backward? Well, how might it be reversed? Well, uniform machine-friendly identifiers eliminates variability or greatly reduces it, and it increases certainty. And that increase of certainty, I think, would go a long way to making this construct safer and secure and actually more elegant. The human-friendly identifiers could be derived from the machine-friendly identifiers via lettering. And humans could choose the human-friendly identifier they want to publish based upon this lettering scheme, which I think offers more flexibility, more versatility, and a more dynamic construct. And then under this reversal, where the machine-friendly is the unique fixed item and the human-friendly has more dynamic nature to it, humans would have the choice as to what phrase, what words do they want to associate with this single numeric identifier that the machines can readily understand. And I assert that the variations would be reduced and security would be increased. So there's more to come this is just simply an introduction, and this is a first cut at a session that I proposed for the upcoming DWeb Camp, which is a gathering of about 450, maybe 500 of some of the most innovative people in the world in terms of technology, policy, social impact, and so forth. And this will happen June 21st through the 25th, about 3 hours north of San Francisco at a camp in the Redwoods. It's an awesome event. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend it. But this is a talk that I have proposed for DWeb Camp, and this is my first introduction to this realm and this concept. So this is a little bit about me, and this is my contact information, and I will stop the screen share and basically conclude with I appreciate your time and your attention, and I invite you to follow along with us on Twitter at Desert Block Hack, and basically join the conversation, see what might be next, what might be an alternative to the domain name system, and how might it be structured, or how might an alternative system be set up that might have some advantages that the current domain name system is lacking. So again, my name is Jay Carpenter. Feel free to reach out to me and let me know your thoughts. Join us again on the fourth Wednesday of June, when we will be broadcasting from DWeb Camp 2023 with a brief look at what's happening at the camp and maybe talking with some of the people that are attending. So join us for that. And then also join us at the second Saturday Desert Blockchain Camp Open House, which will start at 11 a.m. Arizona time, go to 2 p.m. And it's at our Desert Blockchain Camp at 27th Avenue and Georgia and Phoenix, Arizona. And we will send out a meetup announcement for that. So with that, I will conclude tonight, and this recording will be available and edited down by sometime tomorrow. So thank you very much, and have a good evening and